Believe it or not, there is a lizard inside you. It has been there for a very long time, and it is controlling you. You might be thinking that I am talking about that popular idea that fills the internet and YouTube, that there are shape-shifting aliens among us, lizard people, and as in films like The Matrix, we are all being exploited to further those monsters' diabolical plans. Many of you know that I am rather partial to some conspiracy theories, but lizard people is not one of them. No, what I am talking about is a scientific fact. There really is a lizard living deep inside your head. Have you ever worn a new coat or jumper and a friend asks you if it is made of synthetic or natural fibers? What your friend is actually asking is, can the fibers be found occurring naturally, or have they been manufactured by human hands? But within this seemingly innocent inquiry is something quite troubling and possibly the fundamental cause of many of our problems. You see, the reason I get so upset with this question is the implicit notion that the endeavours of humans can be outside of nature or unnatural, as if nature is everything that happens on Earth with one exception: everything that humans do. This perspective puts humans in a different class to everything else on our planet and promotes the idea that somehow humans hold a special position above and beyond other terrestrial creatures and processes. Even if you are religious and subscribe to the idea that we were made in God's image, I don't remember anything about us being gods ourselves. Ironically, in this one respect, humans seem a tad short on humility. I've been looking at dictionary definitions of nature and natural, and I was a little shocked to find that these words do indeed refer to everything that is not caused or manufactured by humans. So it seems that we officially place ourselves in a class that is distinct from all other earthbound living things and events. When did that happen? I'm confused. You see, as far as I can remember, there is no scientific or biological dispute that we are great apes and therefore share a common ancestor with chimpanzees and gorillas. But at some time in our past, we severed this evolutionary heritage. When did we become physically and philosophically separate from our hairy cousins? Linguistically, I think it's a useful idea to have a word that distinguishes humans from everything else. This enables us to talk easily about things that our species does as opposed to any other earthly agent. But it is just an academic distinction. The question your friend asked you about your new jumper is useful to understand the origin of the material, how it was made, who made it, its sustainability, etc. But I feel uncomfortable using the adjective unnatural to mean made by humans. Man-made would be absolutely fine, but unnatural? I feel we are doing the rest of nature an extreme disservice and bigging ourselves up in a rather vulgar manner. Don't get me wrong, I think we humans are pretty bloody neat. But as I said before, we are not gods. And to make my point, I want to turn our attention back to that lizard crawling around within our skulls. Of course, I do not mean that we literally have a reptile in residence inside our heads, but we do have its brain sitting at the top of our spinal column. In the 1960s, the neuroscientist Paul D. MacLean coined the term the triune brain. based on hard facts regarding that 1.5 kilo collection of neurons slushing around behind our eyes. MacLean divides the human brain into 3 areas. The newest part is the bit you imagine when you think of a brain, that pinky grey convoluted cortex. This structure is probably what causes such a wide distinction between us humans and other creatures. Some other animals have an outer cortex to their brain just like us, but none as developed or as sophisticated as ours. Underneath the neocortex is the limbic brain that is responsible for our emotions. Then under that, between our emotions and our spinal cord, is the very ancient brainstem, the so-called lizard brain. This reptilian brain is really, really old and exists in birds and lizards today as it did tens of millions of years ago in dinosaurs. It is this old brain that does all the basic biological housekeeping in our bodies, breathing, heart rate and digestion. But it also gives us our basic survival reactions: fear, hunger, self-preservation, and sex drive. And this is my point. Our intellectual neocortex feeds us the notion that we are special animals, not like the others. We are not basic, grunting, brutish dinosaurs. We are the godlike denizens of our celestial blue marble. And in some ways we are. But think about what we actually see around us. Domestic violence, knee-jerk racism, terrorism, non-stop wars. If you think I am simply, and with unfair bias, only reflecting the dark side, let me quote the words of William Golding, British writer and Nobel laureate, when asked his views on the 20th century. He said, "I can't help thinking that this has been the most violent century in human history." So, why have creatures that have been gifted an unparalleled marvel as is the human brain, and have created such technological, philosophical and artistic miracles as are the aeroplane, the Taj Mahal, heart transplants, the theory of evolution, Mozart, wonderful music, medicine, more Mozart, also worthy of a comment like William Golding's? I would suggest that it is simply hubris. Our species has produced many geniuses, and we can truly all be proud of their achievements: music, literature, astounding medical advancements, and even landing humans on the moon. Bloody hell, who wouldn't feel a tsunami of pride ripple through their bones as part of the species that did all these things and so much more? But I didn't discover penicillin. I didn't write War and Peace. And I certainly didn't pen Mozart's Requiem. I can be rightly proud of my brother's achievements, but I cannot delude myself that they are my personal achievements. The few people among us that do extraordinary things are just that, extraordinary. Most of us are big-brained good people. Most of us are quite wonderful. But we are all just a thin veneer of neocortex away from being a lizard-brained and rather basic animal. And if we can come to terms with the fact that we are not somehow outside of nature, but simply a rather fantastic development within it, if we can stop thinking of ourselves as gods in the making, if we can find some self-control to accept and tame the lizard inside us, we might stand a chance of being an extraordinary species rather than an out-of-control Frankenstein's monster, built by nature with noble intention, but now running amok.